Hello and welcome to the Sideboard here for the Players' Championship. I'm Ken Crocker. I'm here with Season 1 Invitational winner and Platinum Pro Jacob Wilson. Jacob, how was the flight in?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So you're here this weekend trying to take down another tournament. And to do so, you're going to have to go through Legacy, Modern, and Standard. So let's talk about your Standard list that you decided to bring. And it looks like you decided to bring some Red-Green Landfall. Now this, obviously not something that people may have seen in your range. You normally are a blue player in other formats, and generally in Standard, you've been pretty much on Obzon and Siege Rhino since the beginning. So why did you choose to play Red Green Landfall at this tournament?
In Standard, recently, a lot of people play decks with Painful Truth's main deck, and they're just trying to build their mid-range decks to beat other mid-range decks. So I want to have an aggressive deck to capitalize on that.
Okay.
So I play tested a lot with every deck, and I won the most with this.
So you decided to go a little more aggressive, but not all in aggressive. Kind of like, you didn't go Atarka Red, you went Red Green Landfall here.
Yeah, that's right.
So normal creatures here for Red Green Landfall: Avid of Carol Keep, Den Protector, Monastery Swift Spear. And you have the Scythe Leopard, 2 Zergo Bellstriker, and then you have 3 Snapping Gnarlid. Now, one of the interesting choices you make when you do Red Green Landfall is you either choose Snapping Gnarlid or McKindy Slide Runner as your 2-drop. Now, you're mostly base red. So why did you choose to go with the Snapping Gnarlid over the McKindy Slide Runner?
There's a couple reasons. The main reason is that it has more toughness against things like Arc Lightning. That's the main one. And if you don't have a land, it's much easier to attack into lots of 1-power creatures.
Okay.
And of course, there's Surge of Righteousness, which it gets around.
Fair enough. Yeah, so basically just a couple meta calls there for it. And
yeah, who knows if it's right, but there are a couple few things.
Fair enough. So like Atarka Red, you have kind of the combo. Basically, you're playing the Atarka's Command, deals a bunch of damage. With Atarka's Command, do you ever find yourself actually doing the put a land into the battlefield kind of play as well?
Yeah, I'd say you do that a lot more with this deck than you ever would with Atarka Red because of Den Protector. Sometimes you want to cast it with 5 mana before your opponent can kill it, so often you'll cast Atarka's Command if it can let you get to 5 lands.
Fair enough. So how often do you go for the combo of Become Immense, Temur Battle Rage in this deck? Because Atarka Red, that's pretty much how they finish people off. They kind of play this game and they kind of chip in for damage and then they try to combo. It looks more like you're kind of doing maybe a Splinter Twin-esque sort of thing here in Standard where you have the threat of the combo, but you're kind of trying to tempo your opponent out before you actually need to combo. Is that the case?
That's a good comparison. This deck is a lot like Splinter Twin. If they're afraid of tapping out because you could kill them, but a lot of times you just kill them without the combo. But this deck is definitely focused on the combo. Plays 4 of each compared to Atarka Red, which only plays 2 or 3.
Okay. And then you're also playing the full 4 Titan Strength as well.
Yep, I am.
So let's talk about your land drops, basically. It is interesting that you're only playing 2 Cinderglades, main deck, and basically red-green. Like, you're not splashing black, you're not splashing any other colors here. So you're just on the mono fetch land, 2 Cinderglade, and then a couple basics. So why only 2 Cinderglade? Is it ever the case, really, that you're not going to be fetching for that you're going to be more fetching for basic than anything else?
Cinderglade is the best land on turn 3 and onwards, but with all the 1-drops in the deck, specifically like Scythe Leopard and Zergo, you want to cast those on turn 1, so it's really bad to draw Cinderglade in your opening hand.
So trying to curve out purposes, you need the Cinderglades less?
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so Sideboard. Now this is really important in a format like this where basically everyone has access to your deck list after they start to play you. We hand out deck lists at the beginning of each match. So they'll know what you're playing against. So sideboards are really important. So you've decided to bring some interesting cards here for the sideboard, and I kind of want to hear what you're bringing these in against in particular. So what are you going to bring in the Ash Cloud Phoenix for?
The Ash Cloud Phoenix is good against any deck with a ton of removal that you can't beat in the first few turns. Anytime where you're going to have to beat your opponent in a long game, this card can just win the game by itself.
So something like Jeskai Black, or?
Yeah, Jeskai Black and Esper Dragons are the main ones.
What about the Flame-like Phoenix that you actually have 4 of in your sideboard?
Yeah, they're kind of a combo together.
Okay.
If I'm going to bring them in, I'll probably bring in all 6. They work pretty well together, and
So you kind of
they're
go to
both-
the skies a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially since Jeskai kind of, if everyone's following Todd's example, they're going away from the Mantis Rider.
Yeah, Mantis Rider is really good against Flamewake Phoenix, but if they don't have that, then it's pretty good.
All right, and then finally you got a one of Hooting Mandrills. What exactly are you trying to go over the top with a 4/4 Trampler here?
Yeah, Hooting Mandrills is great. I would play more, except you already have 4 Become Immense, so your graveyard is pretty taxed already. It's good against pretty much any deck with burn spells in it, so including Atarka Red, Jeskai, any deck like that.
So just going a little bit bigger than they are.
Yeah.
All right, so you have your own kind of removal spells here, which we know pretty much of. Fiery Impulse, probably Atarka Red, Rending Volley, maybe Esper Dragons or somebody playing an Ojutai. But you still have a Dragon Claw. Now this card doesn't get to see a lot of play in Standard. So what exactly are you bringing this in for?
I thought about cutting it because it's pretty fragile, it only has 2 toughness, and I don't bring it in that often, but if anybody decides to play green-white with Archangel of Tithes, I wanted at least something that is good against it, and it's very good against Archangel of Tithes.
So anyone playing green-white, or maybe they're playing the black-white deck that Craig Wesco played or Jeff Hoagland played last weekend, that's basically for Archangel of Tithes.
Yeah, and it's also good against any deck without burn, so like Abzan or Esper. If they're going to have to spend 2 or 3 mana on it, it's a fine trade.
And then finally, you got a couple roasts here, but this is one that I definitely don't see in sideboards very often. You got an Evolving Wilds, so is this just you messing around, or is there a reason that Evolving Wilds is an extra land in your sideboard?
It was in the main deck up until the last minute, so there were 24 lands. I switched to 23, and I had space in my sideboard, so I just put it there. Okay. And the curve is pretty low game 1, and I have some 4-drops and the Phoenixes in the sideboard.
Sure.
So if I'm on the play and bringing in the Phoenixes, I'll bring in the Evolving Wilds as well.
Is there ever a chance that you're just going to bring this in and side it out for maybe one of the basics or something, just to have more fetch land, more landfall triggers, basically?
It is good for landfall, but I don't think I'm going to switch it. Hopefully not. That would just mean I made a mistake in my deck build.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, you play a deck that's sort of similar to Splinter Twin in this format, so I guess you still get to stick to your blue roots at the end of the day.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for taking the time to side us in from the sideboard, Jacob. We really appreciate it. Good luck in your rounds.
Thank you.
All right, you guys stay tuned for more action here at the Players' Championship.